What's up, everyone? Directly into the case that has the entire internet on edge. We're talking about Nancy Guthrie. Latest shocking details of ransom note revealed. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. Share the video to help with the issue on the ground. As of today, this investigation hasn't just intensified, it has reached a full-blown state of emergency. If you thought the initial search was intense, what happened this morning in Tucson changes everything. The FBI just made a massive power move. A major arrest has finally exposed a predatory scammer, and the digital clock on Nancy's medical survival is reaching a critical point.
Law enforcement left Annie Guthrie's home at 10:30 p.m. local time after spending about 2.5 hours at the residence Saturday evening. At least 4 members of the Pima County Sheriff's Department arrived at the property in 2 unmarked white SUVs and a white truck, marking the first extended law enforcement activity at Annie Guthrie's home in days. As police left the residence, Fox News Digital observed a deputy loading a white case into his vehicle, which he had carried inside earlier, along with what appeared to be a grocery-sized brown bag.
The scene in the Catalina foothills early this morning looked like something out of a military operation. In what many are calling the most significant escalation since the first day of the search, the FBI returned to Nancy Guthrie's home in force. Agents didn't just show up to talk. They shut down the entire street, cordoning off the upscale neighborhood with a sea of yellow tape and a massive fleet of black SUVs. We saw specialized evidence response teams, ERT, in white Tyvek suits entering the residence with heavy-duty scanning equipment and forensic crates. This return in force suggests that investigators have moved past the general search phase and are now acting on high-level intelligence, likely forensic or digital data that has forced them to reprocess the entire crime scene from scratch.
The apparent abduction of Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of NBC Today co-host Savannah Guthrie, entered its 7th day on Saturday, February 7th, with major new developments, including the seizure of a vehicle from her home, fresh scrutiny of possible ransom messages, and President Donald Trump suggesting investigators may be closing in on answers. Authorities believe Nancy Guthrie was taken against her will from her Arizona home sometime between Saturday night, January 31st, and early Sunday, February 1st. DNA tests have confirmed blood found on her porch belonged to her, while her home security system was disabled and her pacemaker connection severed.
Hey there, Robbie, and we want to be clear this afternoon. We spoke with the Sheriff's Department, who tells us there are no suspects or person of interest to report right now. That's what they tell us.
While the ERT teams were inside, news helicopters captured a moment that has sent the true crime community into a tailspin. A blue Subaru SUV was removed from Nancy's garage on a flatbed truck. In a move that looked strictly intended to evade public scrutiny, the license plate of the vehicle was deliberately turned away from the cameras or covered as it was being towed. For nearly 2 weeks, the fact that Nancy's car remained in her garage was the primary evidence that she hadn't left on her own. Seeing it seized today under such secrecy indicates a major pivot. Investigators are likely hunting for GPS tracking data, interior DNA that doesn't belong to the family, or evidence that the vehicle itself was tampered with by the abductor during that 41-minute window when her doorbell camera was cut at 1:47 a.m. and her pacemaker disconnected at 2:28 a.m.
I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
According to law enforcement sources who spoke to NBC News, the email message was sent to local Tucson news station KOLD, the same outlet that received a prior, unverified ransom demand. It is not yet known whether the new message was sent by the same person or persons who were behind the initial note. Sources also stressed that they still have not verified whether the initial note was sent by someone who was involved in Nancy's disappearance.
The air in Tucson grew even more tense when it was confirmed that a second, highly cryptic communication was sent to local TV station KLD 13 just hours before the FBI swarm. This wasn't another ransom demand. Sources close to the case say this new message contained no demand for money and, most disturbingly, no proof of life. It's being described as an unsettling piece of correspondence that acts as a psychological needle drop. When an abductor stops asking for $6 million in Bitcoin and starts sending cryptic messages, it often signals a shift from a business transaction to something much more dangerous.
A Torrance man has been charged with demanding Bitcoin from members of the Guthrie family in the wake of the disappearance of their mother, Nancy.
Let's go straight to Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda live in the newsroom with those developments. Carlos.
On the legal front, we finally have a name and a face for the vulture side of this case. A 42-year-old man from Los Angeles named Derek Kella, also identified as Derek Colella, has been arrested and charged. Kella didn't take Nancy, but he tried to profit from her family's agony by sending fake ransom demands to her daughter, Annie. He demanded Bitcoin, claiming he was the one holding Nancy. It turns out Kella has a history of this heartless fraud. He was already facing federal charges for stealing nearly $10,000 in unemployment benefits while working for Los Angeles County. This arrest is a stark reminder of the predators who move in to exploit a grieving family's desperation for personal gain. Despite the arrest of scammers like Kella and the FBI's $100,000 reward, the core tragedy remains. There is still zero proof of life from the actual abductors. Savannah Guthrie and her siblings have repeatedly made it clear they are willing to pay any amount, but the silence from the other side is deafening. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos has publicly stated he still believes Nancy is alive, but he admitted today that they are racing against time. Nancy is 84, has a fragile heart condition, and has now been without her daily medication for 13 days. Cardiologists warn that abruptly stopping heart medications for a senior can trigger catastrophic rebound effects, meaning the physical window for a safe recovery is closing fast. But the leads are shifting toward the street. A vehicle of interest has been identified through surveillance footage at a Circle K convenience store on Oracle Road. The company has fully cooperated, handing over high-definition video of a vehicle and its occupants seen around the time Nancy vanished. This store is roughly 7 miles from the home, a logical pit stop for an abductor heading toward the highway. If that vehicle matches the suspicious white van neighbors reported seeing earlier, we could be looking at the first real break in the physical manhunt. What's perhaps most telling about the current state of the investigation is who isn't being looked at anymore. The FBI has officially interviewed and cleared the inner circle: the landscapers, the pool maintenance workers, the housekeeper, and even the Uber driver who dropped Nancy off at 9:48 p.m. that final Saturday night. By clearing the regulars, the investigation is now focused squarely on a professional predator or an obsessed individual who conducted sophisticated surveillance on the home. The return of the FBI to the house today and the removal of the Subaru suggest that the break we've been waiting for might be found in the forensics of the garage. Whether it's a fiber, a fingerprint, or a digital handshake caught on a neighborhood router, the surge of federal activity tells us that the investigation is no longer in a wait-and-see mode. They are hunting for something specific, and they are hunting for it right now.